It all started when I saw an ad for a classic car on a classified website. I had always been a car enthusiast and I couldn't resist the opportunity to own a piece of history. The car was a 1967 Mustang, in pristine condition, and the seller was asking for a reasonable price. I contacted him immediately and arranged to see the car in person. When I arrived at the seller's house, I was greeted by a dilapidated, run-down building. The seller, a strange man with a wild look in his eyes, led me to the garage where the car was kept. I couldn't believe my luck. The car was even more beautiful than in the pictures. It had been well maintained and the paint job was immaculate. The seller told me that he had inherited the car from his grandfather, who had passed away recently. He needed to sell it quickly to pay for his grandfather's funeral expenses. I was so excited to own this car that I didn't pay much attention to the seller's strange behavior. I quickly handed him the money and headed to home in my new Mustang. But as soon as I got on the road, I realized that something was off. The car seemed to have a mind of its own, as if it was controlling my every move. I tried to ignore it and chalked it up to my imagination. But the strange occurrences continued. Every time I drove the car, I felt a cold chill run down my spine, and I heard strange whispers coming from the back seat. I tried to rationalize it, thinking that it was just the wind, but the whispers seemed to be coming from inside the car. I started to feel like I was being watched, and I couldn't shake the feeling of unease. One night, I was driving home from work, and the car suddenly swerved off the road. I managed to regain control, but I was shaken by the experience. I decided to take the car to a mechanic to see if there was something wrong with it. But the mechanic couldn't find anything wrong with the car. He told me that it was in perfect condition and that I must have been imagining things. But I knew something was wrong with the car, and now I started feeling that it was haunted. I started to research the car's history, and I discovered that the car had been involved in a tragic accident years ago. The previous owner, a young woman, had been driving the car when it had swerved off the road, just like it had with me. She had died in the accident. Probably her spirit was haunting the car ever since. I knew that I had to get rid of the haunted car because I couldn't risk my life anymore. I stopped using that haunted car and started using another car. I parked the haunted car at the back of the house and put it for sale on a classified website. It had been a week since I put the haunted car up for sale, and then one night, something strange happened. I woke up in the middle of the night, feeling an overwhelming urge to drive that haunted car. I couldn't explain it, but I felt compelled to obey. I got dressed and headed out to the haunted car. Once inside, I found that I couldn't control the car, as if some unseen force had taken over. The car drove itself into the forest, and I watched in horror as it smashed through bushes and small trees, creating a path as it went. It finally came to a stop in the middle of the forest. As I sat there, trying to make sense of what was happening, a ghostly figure appeared next to me. It was a woman, but her eyes were missing, replaced with empty white sockets. She seemed to be in a rage, and she spoke in a menacing voice.
This car is mine. You have no right to it. Leave it here and never look back.
I was paralyzed with fear and couldn't move. The ghost woman seemed to be reaching out to me, trying to touch me. Suddenly, the ghost disappeared, and I found myself alone again. I was too scared to move and sat there for a few minutes before I got the courage to run away, never looking back. I shared that horrifying incident with my friend and brother. For days, I couldn't shake off the feeling of being watched, and I had nightmares of the ghost woman with white eye sockets. Within a month, rumors of the haunted car in the forest started spreading. Many people went to see the car, and after seeing the car they all got the eerie feeling of being watched for many days. Few tried to start the car, but they all had to stop their attempts because immediately they started feeling an unbearable, unseen weight on their shoulders because of which they couldn't sit in the car. Years went by, but the mystery of the haunted car parked in the forest is still unsolved. Probably car is haunted by the ghost of the woman who lost her life in the accident of that car. If you like this video, then don't forget to read 100 Fiction, available at Amazon. Link is in the description. I was a taxi driver for 10 long years, driving through the city, picking up and dropping off passengers, and never staying in one place for too long. I had a routine and comfort in my work, even though it could be monotonous at times. But there was one thing that made every shift a little different, a little more exciting. My ghostly friend. It all started when I was waiting for a customer at a train station. A poor man approached me, asking for money for lunch because he was hungry. Out of the kindness of my heart, I took him to the station restaurant and bought him a meal. He thanked me and said that he would help me in the future, but I just brushed it off, thinking there was no way a homeless man could repay such a small act of kindness. A few days went by and I noticed something strange happening with my car. Despite the busy days, it remained spotless, as if no one had ever been in it. I was surprised and couldn't understand how all of my passengers were so considerate. One day I caught a strong fragrance of hot food in the car, even though there was no food in the car. It was then that I realized some ghostly energy was staying with me in my car. One night, I dropped a customer in a suburb of the city and was just about to head home for rest when I received another ride request, offering a huge amount in the tip. I accepted the ride, eager to make some extra cash. The customer had a big suitcase with him and he started talking about how he had left his home after arguments with his wife. He said that he was going to his friend's house to spend the night. When I dropped off the customer, he handed me a hefty tip. I was overjoyed. I helped him carry his suitcase to the door. I was about to leave when I heard a whisper near my ear.
"Call the police. The man who just left your car is a criminal."
I was startled, thinking it was coming through the Bluetooth device. I quickly turned off my Bluetooth and the turned down volume of the radio to 0, but the whisper continued.
"Call the police. The man who just left your car is a criminal."
I looked around, but there was no one in the car with me. Confused and scared, I asked, "Who are you and why should I trust your words?"
"I am a ghost. I died 50 years ago after being hit by a train near that train station where you gave meal to the poor man. I was touched by your kindness and have decided to stay with you in your taxi to help keep you safe. We should all try to keep society safe from criminals."
Terrified, but also trusting the ghost's words, I called the police and told them my suspicions about the last customer. They responded quickly and raided the house where I dropped off the passenger. In the house they found a briefcase full of counterfeit money. It turned out that the man was a counterfeit money dealer and had been on the police's wanted list for a while. I never saw that ghost in human form, but I always felt that he was with me in the car, guiding me through whispers whenever he felt I was in danger. After 10 years of being a taxi driver, I started my own business and left the cab driving life behind. But I never forgot the ghost friend who had helped me so much. I often wondered if he was still out there, helping other taxi drivers in their hour of need.